I'm Mexican American. In my younger days, um, when there was a Chicano movement going on, then I think it was then that I resonated to Chicano. Hispanic is a term that the U.S. Census created, so I've never been that. It was a way for them to pin us into a category, I guess. So Mexican American is what I identify to more. Huge, and probably I didn't realize it till much later. Um, in fact, as an adult, I think I realized it. It came to roost even more so when I went to work for as a vice president for a nonprofit in Washington D.C. I found that there in Washington, it's like a photo negative. You're either black or white. Being Latino, Mexican American, um, just was out of place, and so I had to work at proving myself harder. I had to work harder at what I did, um, just to prove my worth and value. My dad was always a leader, always a leader. When he came over as a young man, he came over as I would think an adolescent. He went to high school. He went to Roosevelt High School. He played football. He was the leader, the captain of his team. Um, Later on, he worked for a silk stocking factory. He was a foreman and leader there. He then became a leader organizer, like a union organizer and labor leader. He went back to Mexico and um, unionized the petroleum um, industry, and then got it going with the labor movement there. It was so good that the Mexican government took it over and became Pemex. And so he came back home and started working again, and worked for the state of California, and then later for the county of Los Angeles, from which he retired.
The LA Times correctly labeled Frank Duarte an advisor, counselor, peacemaker, networker, innovator, father image, and friend to the people of his community. Duarte was born in Mexico in 1910 but was moved to the U.S. a year later. During the Depression, he worked at a hosiery plant and started a union for the workers there. Although his union overall lost the battle and Mr. Duarte lost his job, Duarte became inspired by the power of people working together. He went and traveled back to Mexico and led a union there for 4 years, but eventually came back to America permanently. He began working in job development for East LA, but desired to help more. He founded the East Los Angeles Community Improvement Association and the East Los Angeles Job Clearinghouse, and also led Charo, which provided on-the-job training and other services primarily in the Latino community. Frank Duarte also worked in many other committees and programs, including the Los Angeles Police Commission and the American Red Cross. He also earned the title of Senior Community Relations Liaison for the country's Department of Health Services, but to Latinos in the community, he is the godfather of East LA.
To see how many people my dad helped along the way, and that it was never self-grandizing. It was never for his own benefit or for connections that he could make. Um, all along, we'd meet people who would say, "Oh, your dad helped me find this job," or "Oh, it was your dad that recruited me to the medical department over at SC Medical Center," or I didn't think that I could ever become a supervisor of the Los Angeles County had it not been for the work that your dad did before her. So that was probably the most enlightening thing that we could see, the way he modeled his life. And so it wasn't just a saying. I mean, he really meant it.
Something that inspired Frank Duarte to go into activism for the Latino community was the Pachuca movement and Zoot Suit riots of the 40s. During this time, Mexican Americans aimed to stand out and recognize their own individual culture. To do so, men and women wore zoot suits, which included exaggerated coats and pants, and danced to Pachuco swing, a music choice which combined swing and rumba. The suits alone challenged gender stereotypes for Chicanas, who would either wear short skirts or men's clothing. Many servicemen saw these zoot suits as unpatriotic and despised the Mexican Americans who wore them. Marines and sailors caused massive attacks on the Chicanos, killing many who wore the zoot suit.
In regard to the Pachuco and Zoot Suit movement, you know, that was a way for people to be recognized as, I, I guess then they were called Chicanos, and the movement. Unfortunately, what it meant for some of our people that lived around Dodger Stadium, Elysian Park, they got moved out. Families were moved out. They condemned their properties, and they were never really truly compensated. They were moved forcefully out. So that was an area that was high risk, and as a result of the play, I think came to light that it was racially charged, and and that was covered up for many, many years. So it wasn't until the 60s when they were allowed to really talk about it in the true aspect of the happening of the events.